This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you, the pit crew, you are the real star of today's show. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. I sure did, and welcome to the show. Sitting here, getting ready to talk about sim racing, ready to kick things off for the week. And again, so what's going on in the world of sim racing? Of course, anything going on in your world that we need to know about in the world of sim racing, of course, please chime in the chat. Let us know, because we are really here to discuss sim racing. Rip the Cushion asks, how is the arm pump? Rip, that is a very good question. So why don't I bring down the thumbnail and we'll get right to what Rip is talking about. The biggest piece of news in sim racing today is the fact that the Simpit has, I will use the word finally hit 40,000 subscribers. So I am here to thank all of you for being part of that and helping us continue to grow, which is much appreciated by my end and a big reason of why we continue moving forward. So thank you, everybody. What you're watching here is a video that sort of, it was a timing issue. I made a promise that I would do 10 push-ups anytime I swore live on camera. And I had racked up a debt of actually 120 push-ups. So I decided, or I had teased people and said that if we hit 40,000 subs, I would do the 100 push-ups. So after 35 minutes it took me to do it, this video is playing on the YouTube page right now. You can watch me at 51 years old struggle through 100 push-ups. I have not been working out at all in years for the most part. So it was quite a challenge, but we did make it. Actually, I swore twice during the show, so we had to make it 102. Anyway, the question is, how do I feel? My left elbow hurts and kept me up during the night. I took some ibuprofen and it feels better now. I'm definitely a little sore right here on both sides. The arms are a little sore on the back, right there and right there. The stomach is a little sore, believe it or not. And walking around on my knees for 35 minutes, I skinned up one of my knees. Anyway, it was brutal. But I want to thank you all. It was worth it, that's for sure. I want to thank you all for being part of us hitting 40,000 subs. And now we'll keep our eyes on 50,000. We'll have to come up with a challenge. Maybe it won't be a swear challenge, but we'll have to come up with something. All right, so yeah, pre-workout reviews. I need to build up to such a thing. I'm a little noodly in the arms. I didn't do any sim racing yesterday. I just couldn't. My arms just were gonna fall off, it felt like. Okay, now let's get into the real sim racing news. That's just Simpit sim racing news. Took me 35 minutes though. Jared Filsell scores the first Porsche eSport Cup win of 2019. Depending on where you're coming from, he's an Apex racing driver. I understand Graham Carroll was leading the race in one of the Red Bull Porsches, and there was a little incident between the two, and Jared went on to win. I'm not casting any judgment. I'm just saying what I saw out there in the internet, and definitely did have an impact on the race. But so things are off. This is just in case you haven't followed or caught up, but this is basically replacing the Grand Prix World Championships that had always been at iRacing. When we see Martin Kroenke and Gregor Hutu and these champions go at the biggest road racing championship there is in iRacing, it had always been in open wheelers, and now at this point they've gone to this Porsche eSport Super Cup is the premier road racing series in all of iRacing. So we are going to have a major changing of the guard going on, is something that we can predict coming up. Cross your legs and do them on your fists. My fists would have worn out. Thank you, Invader. Yeah, I also was considering a cheater bar, but everyone called me out on it. So I just did them straight up normal push-ups. I didn't try crossing legs. Hello, Lionheart. I need to go watch that Verstappen moment. I did not get a chance to watch the F1 race, but I did hear some of what went on, and I saw one picture of a moment but I didn't get a chance to do them. No, I did man push-ups, but a few of them, I actually, believe it or not, I actually rejected 3 or 4 push-ups during the 102 because I felt that they were not full push-ups. Yes, Pelican and I have that to talk about today. Thank you for the heads up. Always like when you guys give me a heads up on articles and things to cover. This is kind of cool. We've talked about it, but I just want to, make sure you guys are aware of it going on. A few reasons. There's going to be like a lower tier esport available to all. Billy and I talk about, when is that ladder system going to start paying things for everybody? And when you look at something that's where the prize is like a VIP package to a race and maybe a driving school experience, well, let's face it, those big DWC, Drivers World Championship level drivers, they really can't go after these. It's kind of, it's going to get rid of some of that cream at the top and allow it to be open for all. The other reason I mentioned is because the Mustang is one of the coolest cars in iRacing. And I say that because it's actually one of the hardest cars to drive. It really is. It's a very difficult to drive car. And that's going to change things too and give people who maybe don't always have an opportunity a better opportunity. This is a manly car. You got to manhandle the Mustang in order to get it around. But this is kicking off. We talked about it before. The exact event begins now and runs through August 19th. So the races are going to take place on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m., and midnight. I do like that they're restricting it to a limited amount of racers, 30-minute long races. So you'll see that series, the Mustang Series, presented by Lime Rock Park, where you can win a Skip Barber Racing School. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, Tim, I think you're a shoo-in for this. You're all about that Mustang. It's a classic stick-shift car, too. Other competitions. The race department, Assetto Corsa Competizione special event. It's going to be a 2.4 hours of spa. It's coming Friday, the 5th of July. So Thursday is the 4th of July. Big holiday here in America. 5th of July is the race. That's the Friday. And this coming Friday, actually. And they're going to do multiple splits, multiple races, full 24-hour day-to-night cycle during that 2.4, 30 cars per track. Sign-ups there at Race Department. And that should be a cool event. That will be one of the first big events that I've really seen the public take part in ACC. What else? Project Cars had their this is the Logitech qualifier, the Logitech G Sport qualifier, or the G Challenge they call it. This is week number 2, or qualifier number 2 for both the PlayStation and the PC via Steam. In the PlayStation, Sauce won the Zebra 94 and Airstrike 1, winning $250, $150, and $100 respectively, and their shot at the final. On the PC side, THR Operator, Max A Power, and Racer 66 were our top 3 finalists, or top 3 positions, earning those same prize monies and opportunities towards the final. Lionheart Racing Series celebrating its 5-year birthday today, the 1st of July. Congratulations, Lionheart. That's great. That is great. Mike video on ACC numbers dropping. Billy and I on Fridays, we talk about you have a sim, and now what do you do with it? I mean, that's a big thing for me. And I can fault every sim on planet Earth to an extent on, now you've built a sim, what do you do with it? How are you going to keep me coming back? How are you going to keep me playing week after week, month after month, year after year in some cases? And that is part of what's going on. Yeah, likewise, Lionheart. I'm very proud to work with you guys. You are a top-notch league doing things in the right way. I really appreciate what you guys do there. All right, what else? Dirt. Are you ready to drive the new cars next week? The Porsche 911 and the Lancia 037 are on the way. They have a whole write-up on that in their road book. So this is talking about those two cars. In addition to that, the deluxe liveries are coming July 2nd, that being tomorrow. They have a whole write-up on that one all on its own. Wait, oh, nope, here it is. And a video, they use Shure mics to capture car audio. Just showing them getting some audio off of the Lancia. Cool video. Always like seeing these kind of videos on tech. Look at the guy, the audio guy sitting shotgun. I hope he's enjoying the ride, not just sitting there monitoring sound. Let's get a look at his face again in this video of them recording audio. I would get sick if I had to sit down and look at audio gauges. It's one thing for me to look out the windshield. In-game audio at the cabin. A little recording device there. Anyway, that's cool. So that's coming to Dirt Rally 2.0. I thought I had more on that. Where was the more on that? I think I have more on that later. Hey, Chris Phillips, how you doing? Yeah, I only paid that for the ACC as well if you bought it in early access. Grant, me too. I really do hope they keep... I drove it the other day, and I wasn't horribly disappointed. I mean, it's still lacking in so many ways, but I mean, it still was a really fun game. WRC8 is looking very promising. I'm still holding out judgment on their force feedback, unfortunately. All right, Race Room just completed their 2.4-hour Nürburgring event, and some big names up at the top of the podium. If you wanted to watch the replay, you'll find it at Race Room. Spoiler alert, but Benzi Bonke won the race. Austin Ogonowski came in second, so good job by those two guys in the top class. Big event, though. So it brought out some of the biggest names for Race Room. I'm looking for Keatley. Where's Jack? Did Jack not run? Jack might not have run this event. I would have liked to have seen him compete against Benzi in that one. Forza has their week in review going on. Just a few things. Alan Hartman actually coming out of the VIP offices, or the senior executive offices, to play with the Adam Meckberg. Alan? No. Meckberg. Yeah, Adam, right? Meckberg. Ekberg. I'm losing my mind. Those push-ups did a number on me. So all the things going on at Forza this week came out in that latest blog. NASCAR Heat had their first road course event. This is at Watkins Glen. Here are results in the PS4. Fast Fed, 32, followed by Sloppy Joe, YT, and Sladegg, 84. Nice names, guys. And in addition to that, we have our Xbox results. This is at Watkins Glen as well. Wow, that's garbage. And first, Mr. Trackbar, 33, and JRM Dohar, 88 in third. Whoever those people are. This just struck me funny. With today being July 1st, I think the Fanatec software was supposed to come out the end of May. Didn't. It's supposed to come out, let's not even get back to the fact that the wheel was supposed to come out at the end of the year. It didn't. The software was supposed to come out at the end of May. It didn't. Then it was going to come out at the end of June, I guess, and it didn't. And here it is, July 1st, and we still don't have the software. I still have a Podium sitting right here. I guess asked every single day why it's not on my rig. And the reason it's not on my rig is I have a great many wheels to choose from. I have my Bodner wheel, which I love. I have my Xperience, which I love, and I can tune in to get a little more out of the wheel, which is why I've been holding out and very, very happily waiting for the Podium software to hopefully get more out of that wheel. But right now, it would just make it another direct drive wheel in my world. And quite honestly, would I pick that over my Bodner, which is fully dialed in and ready to go? Would I pick that over my Xperience, which I have a million settings ready to go for every sim scenario that I run? I need that software. So while they're patting themselves on the back for an advertisement / write-up as Gadget of the Month inside a Top Gear magazine, that's great, but where's the software? Come on, you guys. It's really time. I mean, I want to be able to return this wheel to the person it belongs to. I'm waiting on a proper review to get the software. I've seen other people review it, and I'm thinking it's not the wheel they said it's gonna be yet, so why would I review it yet? This would be like reviewing Assetto Corsa Competizione back on early release 3. It's not the game yet. It's not fair. Yes, I paid money. Yes, I have it. Yes, I could review it. But come on, Fanatic. It's time to really get with it and get that software done. Get us something. Anyway, all right. So, Autosport with a really cool article, really deep article about Igor Fraga, who this guy's got to be one of our top heroes. He is a Gran Turismo sport champion of champions. This guy wins just about everything that he has gone on to do in Gran Turismo. He is now up there in the ranks of other sim racing legends who have had some spotted real-life racing careers prior to or along with their sim racing career without the notoriety of a Lando Norris or Max Verstappen. But this guy is running in, F3 now. They have some shots of him here, and he is holding his own, and doing better than holding his own, I should say. Doing very well, and this is a very big deal, running an F3 car in real life. This is no joke. This is one of the top tiers of racing worldwide, to be honest with you. So, congratulations to Igor Fraga, number 1. Number 2, really cool article that you should go read at Autosport, talking about him and the driver blending virtual and real-life racing. Rostrums? No, I don't know the word rostrums, forgive me. Never heard of that word. UK. Now, I wonder how this is worldwide. But in the UK, this kind of shocked me when they looked at their top sales for the month. And looking down at the list, this blew my mind. Super Mario Maker 2 is number 1. Crash Team Racing was number 2, previously number 1. New to list is F1 2019, coming in as the top third, number 3 in sales. And, and then reliables like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, things like that. But right now, look at the amount of titles. Mario Kart 8 even coming in 5th. Look at how much the driving games are dominating the market in the UK market. I'm sure it doesn't look like that here in the States, which is why I hate to say it, but in America, racing just doesn't get the love it deserves. Not if you're me, not if you're you, not if you're a racing fan. Yeah, Pelican, he's been a real-life racer on the side from the very, very beginning. Oh my god, Becky, look at her butt. How did we get on big butts? Mario Kart Maker it's number 1 right now. So, fascinating. And yeah, Pelican, the fact that GTA 5 is still on the list is fascinating. That game, and speaking of, I didn't even know it had gotten to this point. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto in a while. I've never really bought any of the add-ons for it, but apparently they're promising casinos to finally come to the online mode. I don't think I've ever played the online mode, to be honest with you. But GTA Online offers triple rewards at Hot Ring, Issy Classic, and RC Bandito races. Check out this picture. This is Grand Theft Auto, people. I had no idea that you can now drive what is just totally like race cars. Look at the old Wrangler, like the Dale Earnhardt with a 33. That's kind of funny. Yes, Cranky, you're so right. EU, European fans across the board are serious about racing. USA just uses an excuse to drink beer, much like the Super Bowl or any football, any sporting event. That is the excuse here in America. All right, what else? Zombie Driver, Immortal Edition coming to Nintendo Switch. Now, this is, I'm now pushing it on what we would consider a automotive sim, automotive game, motorsport gaming. You are driving, and you are blowing everything in sight up, or flaming everything up. But we have talked about Twisted Metal. We've talked about other diversion type titles. I've mentioned any time that I can continue to drive and still put a smile on my face. Anyway, does this look like fun? Coming to the Nintendo Switch July 25th. Does this look cool? Would you play it? Are you gonna play it? The online mode is completely different game than single player. That's what I understand. I haven't done anything yet on that. I guess it's probably time to dust it off and give it a shot. VLN. Frozen. Oh, you guys, your conversation. Sometimes hard to stay with. We talk about how real sim racing is. How real is sim racing compared to real life motorsport? And you can talk about it from a physical level of operating the controls. You can talk about it from a physics level and an engineering level on how accurate the models are. You can talk about it at the competition level, the inside-outside door, the setup for a pass. All these factors that I really do think are paralleling real-life racing. Once Billy and I talked about RC, virtual radio control car game, or comparing that to even real-life radio control. Like, what's more of a sim? Driving an actual real-life RC car where you have no force feedback or any of these things. And this is a great discussion that Billy and I had, and I don't think there is a right answer. It's a debatable question. You could argue your points, but I don't think one is clearly more sim than the other. Well, I'm now going to make the argument I have on the show, and Devin said, what's with Shaun and his bikes? I'm obsessed with bikes, and the Tour de France starts up in just, a week or so? Or right now. The Tour de France is upon us. It's July. Which means I will be watching a lot of that on TV while I'm working. But Prudential Ride London, training with Danny Rowe, week 11. Danny Rowe is a pro cyclist who's using that Zwift trainer to do a whole virtual training session using a real life, and this is why I brought up the RC racing and sim and what it is. You really do ride the bike. I mean, you're on I can put my bike on one of these trainers and be running their program against other people. Take this one step further from Zwift, and now Sufferfest training plans for virtual bike racing and esport. Well, these esport champions are not going to be playing with gamer tags like Fun Guy 47. These guys are going to be using real life names because they're not gamers. They're athletes. They're real physical athletes. I think we're all athletes for being sim racers in certain arguments of athletics. But now we're talking about cardio athletes, guys who can pump out 100 miles on a bike, real or virtually. And then using these training modules, and I'm wondering, man, they better hook those things up some power. They should light up the lights of the studio with such a thing. But is that going to be more real? Is that more real than what we're doing? Now, these guys aren't, bicycling, much like racing, is dangerous. If you've never raced a bicycle, I don't care whether you're talking BMX or Tour de France road biking, bicycling is a dangerous sport. You do not have protection, and a crash at over 12 miles an hour can hurt you badly. No miles an hour can hurt you badly. Now, these guys aren't going to be able to fall off their rigs, and they're not going to have to speed down corners. You could just push down the straightaways, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know. I wish they're very expensive units. I'm going to have to try to get one. Maybe they will. I got to write myself a note to this Zwift company, and I don't know if I'm going to put my bike on one. I've not seen it and seen if it hurts, but I have a carbon bike. I don't just put it on any old bike training thing. Anyway, very interesting, and I again argue, what's more real? RC racing, sim racing, or virtual esport bicycle racing? Yeah, Nikki Hayden died on a bicycle. Thank you, Pelican. Bicycling is dangerous. But now you could, if you watch the tour, these guys climb the Pyrenees and then they bomb down the backside of the Pyrenees doing, literally faster than the guys on motorcycles can keep up with them. RC is Simcade, but I don't know. RC the game, Theodore, or RC real life? But I would argue, but you're actually operating a physical vehicle that's operating and reacting to physical track and track temperature and the actual conditions. They do race. There are a few bike races that actually happen at the Nords, and I saw a clip on YouTube the other day of someone crashing actually at the Nords on a bicycle. It is a racing. They do a lot of bike races on a lot of road courses. It's actually fairly common. RC is like gamepad driving. Real life RC, it's made for leisure. Have you ever raced a real life RC? It's very real. It's very real. Sure, the crashes are funky and fake, but I don't know. To me, I could really make an argument that RC racing is more real than sim racing. Yeah. Let's keep that for another show. Maybe that's something that me and Billy will go back to. And maybe when I get one of these Zwift units in and actually, you thought 100 push-ups were hard. Let's do a stage of the Tour de France. I couldn't do a Tour stage at this point. Back in the day, I could have. Now, if you're into cycling, a century is considered a huge ride. A century, 100 miles. And people wear that accomplishment as a badge of honor, much like somebody who's run the marathon. Almost every stage of the Tour de France is over 100 miles. It's insane. It is the most brutal race on earth. I can't wait. Cannot wait. All right. This article made me happy for a blink of an eye, and then it made me really mad about the world we live in now. This is at Yahoo Sports. Somebody sent it in. Thank you for sending it in. I think it came from Thawman. Chicago Bears Kyle Long turns the passion of sim racing into a love for NASCAR. So Parker Kligerman during the broadcast actually caught up with Chicago Bears offensive lineman Kyle Long, who explains his passion for sim racing and how it increased his appreciation for NASCAR. Now, my gripe here is that's the entire article. This is actually considered a news story on Yahoo. So my FU of the day goes to Yahoo Sports for acting as though you're doing some form of journalism. I'm not sure what this is, but this is a pathetic article. Like, where's the beef? I'm sorry. Now, on the flip side, this is something that me and John Hill talk about. This is something that me and Billy Strange talk about. When we talk about why is IndyCar hunting down an eSport championship? Why is our eSport safer from the bubble than others? And it's because we bring something else to the table. His appreciation for NASCAR grew based on being able to do it, being able to taste the action. And I'm not sure you could make that same argument. We just talked what's more RC or virtual bikes or sim racing. The same argument could be made. What is a better link in terms of making a more knowledgeable fan playing NBA 2019 or playing iRacing for NASCAR? So look at that foot, dude. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice the foot. You got to watch my side ad sometimes. That's pretty funny. The vulnerability of doing a live show with modern advertising. Luckily, I don't use this browser for searching for anything, so it's no indication of my life. Anyway, car driver with a cool write-up here. This is them talking about how they got to drive Aston Martin's new wild 1160 horsepower Valkyrie hypercar. And they show an interior picture of this carbon fiber monster of a car. And they then their subcaption is getting a test drive is for now about as likely as being able to afford one. Instead, we drive it the way the engineers do in the racing simulator. And they have a whole write-up talking about it, and they have a picture of the car. And then they show a bunch of pictures of them in the Aston Martin Red Bull simulator. But they only show Formula One car. I didn't see any pictures showing them actually driving the simulator of the supercar. But a cool write-up on Car and Driver just showing sim racing to an extent to the general public, which you gotta love. All right, let's get ready to argue. Let's get ready to chime in with your thoughts and opinions and votes. This is from the Xbox Hub, and it is 10 of the best racing games of all time. What are your votes? If you had to throw a game on the top 10 of the best racing games of all time, and when you say best to me, that doesn't mean fast forward to 2019 and say, oh, well, this, and that. And the reason is these have evolved. When I think of the best, I think of the ones that had the biggest impact or were the most iconic or the most important of all time. Because that, when you talk about all time, it's not the fastest. Like if you were to talk the greatest Ferraris of all time, they're actually not the ones that are being built in 2019, for the most part. I'm not saying one of those can't be on the list. I'm just giving you guys time to chime in. Hard driving. I see that one. That's a good one. GT Sport. I'm not sure about that. Or Forza Horizon 4. No, but when you think of the classic Ferraris, you go back in time. When you think of the all-time greatest Ferraris of all time, you go back in time. They're not necessarily the current models. Or if it is a current model, all it did was displace that one spot held in the top 10 by last year's current model. Exactly, like the F50, you know, and so when I really think of an all-time best list, so now that I've given you guys an opportunity to give it some thought, and let's go through their list. This is coming from Xbox Hub, and let's see if they got them right. Pole position. The first line, I wish there was a photo here. The original and the daddy of my entire racing game career, says the author of this article. I can't argue for a moment. There you go, Theodore. Pole position. And yes, spatial, the 250 GTO. That's number one for sure. Anyway, pole position. That was their they didn't order these in. These are just, they're not necessarily ranking them in order, it seems. So we don't have to argue with their order as much as who's on the list. Mario Kart. Not so much for me, but I couldn't necessarily argue that. Ridge Racer. I think you got to put Ridge Racer on the list. This might have been one of the most impactful games in the history of motorsport gaming. I don't know. Wipeout. I don't know. I think if you were going to throw Wipeout, wouldn't F-Zero be the title? If you were going to add Wipeout to your list, if you're an old school gamer, wouldn't it really be the other way around? I don't know. Outrun. Theodore. Outrun. You got to put it on the list. Gran Turismo. No argument whatsoever. What began the most successful racing title franchise in the history of the world, Gran Turismo, Polyphony, Sony. There's a whole story between, I mean, at one point one owned the other and the other owned the other, and insane. Colin McRae rally. You know, a lot, maybe in more of that cult following type category, but yeah, I could. Burnout 2, not for me. I'm not sure about Burnout 2. I don't think that was it. Need for Speed Most Wanted Underground. All right, now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was arguably one of the best versions that Need for Speed ever made. Hot Pursuit, though, might be my pick, though, Jack, because you got to put a Need for Speed title. You can't get out of this list without adding a Need for Speed title, in my opinion. You know, you could start arguing about which one was the one. I mean, I was always a fan of Porsche Unleashed, but I'd always been a fan of Porsche as the iconic brand as well. You could argue Hot Pursuit because that was the original, right? That was the first one with like the Supra 2 and the Corvette, and I mean it was like it was simple. It was a game changer. But then do you go to the best, which arguably was Need for Speed Most Wanted Underground 2. Anyway, I'm going to give them, Project Gotham. Project Gotham got me to actually switch consoles. It was that good. I actually went from, I sold one to buy the other in order to switch. Forza Motorsport 3, Forza Horizon. You know, I might, if I really had to put the list together, I might give Forza, and I say might. I mean, we mentioned Gran Turismo. For me, it's a no-brainer. Forza, I love you. I don't know if you get a spot in the top 10. In my top 10, you don't get 2 for sure. And that, wow, we already got through all 10. So, and then we can move on to Fat Belly Burning Solutions. That's always a good one. Test Drive Unlimited, yes. Anyway, I think the important thing, and something that I always talk about here on the show, though, is, you know, when I'm critiquing a game, especially a game being targeted to the beginning players, the new players, these lists, had pole position sucked, would I be sitting here today? I know that sounds crazy on one hand, but on the other hand, is it? You know, at some point, a handful of games turned me into the guy that I am today. Because I've grown up with gaming, all of you did, and it's been a big impact on most of our lives. I've turned my life into being the sim racing channel. Pole position could have been one of those. I mean, it's hard to determine. I'm not laying down on the couch and getting all Freud here, but pole position to me is the one. I mean, pole position is the one. There are games that I played and loved before it, but pole position was the game that I couldn't stop playing. Grand Prix Legends is on my list for sure, Tim. Anyway, I just thought it would be kind of a fun little diversion topic. It's something we'll come back to. Kind of almost goes back to Sim Pizza, because in a lot of ways, these games shaped what that pizza looks like or tastes like today. So, GT Sport, we did mention the new cars that were coming out, but I actually didn't talk about the pricing of those cars. There's a write-up here at Multiplayer First. You know, there are so many that, you know, if we were to really get into depth, this list would grow up to 20, 30 games very quickly. It would be really hard for me to really rank them in a proper order. That's kind of why I'm okay with the way they just threw down a top 10 list. I don't know if I could be any more accurate. I might be able to give Gran Turismo the number 1 position. I really... Yeah, Billy, I agree. We really could do that. And it would be fun to do that with others, you know, chiming in with a little advanced warning as well. Or we do a new sim poll or something. I don't know. We'll have to play with this idea. Anyway, the new cars, that Chevrolet Camaro, N300 class, 100,000. That Red Bull, that competition car, $3 million. The Clio for 70,000. Toyota Supra. Anyway, there's the pricing. Here's an article here. Gaming Bolt. Just where is Gran Turismo 7? I don't care. I don't even care. You could read the article if you want. It's at Gaming Bolt. From what I understand, the Gran Turismo 7 will be a launch title with the PS5 or whatever they're going to call the new version. But here's where I'm coming from on this. I don't care what Gran Turismo 7 is. Why? Because they are doing an incredibly wonderful job of updating and bringing GT Sport along, and without the addition of more money. Most of it is free, and if they did Gran Turismo 7, what would it really be? other than what they've packaged into GT Sport. I mean, the console system hasn't made an advancement that is going to uncork some new ability to cram more into the game than they quite possibly have already crammed into the game. So there's really no huge advantage to GT7 even happening right now. It would just be another excuse to cash grab for the money, which believe me, they could do. But I think one of the reasons why Gran Turismo can make it on my list without any hesitation is because of the ethics that they've always had with that title. Like, somehow, despite making more than anybody in sim racing, they've done it with an ethics that is definitely not about greed. I don't feel like Gran Turismo is ever just trying to get their money's worth out of the title. I feel it like the opposite. Like, of any sim racing game on earth, this is the only one that you could make the argument, like a Grand Theft Auto, that years and years later, they're still updating it. It's still getting better, and it's still one of the number one selling titles for that platform. So, I do appreciate the heck out of Polyphony, Sony, and Gran Turismo, whatever. And I can't wait for Gran Turismo 7, and I can't wait for the next-gen consoles, to be honest with you. I just hope that they do more out of performance than just kind of homogenizing our industry, which I kind of feel is the direction they're taking it now, more just trying to take out the computer, really. Anyway, all right, moving right along. That is a topic for another day. All right, we are a little long today, aren't we? It's already 9:40, and I still have more to talk about. I've been blabbing away. Article here on simracer.es. I did a little digging on my own. Automobilista 2 will cost between $35 and $105 is what it just said, except I did that cover-up thing. Where did I have my other? Here, I got to jump around a little bit, it looks like. So, going to Automobilista, which you can put on your wish list on Steam, releasing December 2019. You can follow them on social media, but in addition to that, what they also have is their development update. So I'm going to show you a video here, their launch video and development. In addition to that, wait, where was the article talking about the early access? Here we go. So we have some screenshots. Here we have the video. You'll find this, the first gameplay video in VR. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, I remember that car. This is Automobilista 2 in action. They are going to, in addition to that, they're going to have early backing type mentality. Here we go. Early backing campaign. So you can drive down the price in terms of getting in early, like we've seen going. Backing options, so $119 for new members in the US, $99 for users that already own AMS and their DLCs, $89 for Rseat members and Sim Racing Bonanza backers of level 3 or below, $79 for Sim Racing Bonanza backers, so that's what they're calling their program, level 4, exempt of extra charge for Sim Racing. What it earned, so basically, anyway, they're doing a whole early backing. You're going to have to do a little investigating work, but go find them. If you want to read more about it, find out whether you want to invest. I mean, when we talk about Automobilista 2, we talk about people who bought Competizione, Assetto Corsa Competizione for $20, have always been fairly happy with the purchase. Those who paid full fare, maybe not as happy with the purchase. Automobilista 2. What's your confidence in Rseat Studios? What's your confidence in their ability to port and put their product onto the Madness engine? And if you really believe in them, with that pricing, I mean, it's going to be expensive, it looks like. $120? I've never seen this much money for a single title game. That's what it looks like it will. No, wait now. Now I'm really... Oh, these are backing options. Sorry. The game itself, the base game, will be $40. Season Pass version will be $100, and it'll include the first 2 years of DLC. And there's Season Pass for people who own previous version. You can get voting rights for development, polls, beta access, things like that. So if you get in, you get that extra. Roadmap for the first 2 years includes Expansion 1, cars, tracks to be announced. Expansion 2, cars announced to be announced. Expansion Pack 3, Dirt Pack. And then Legendary Racetracks Parts 1 through 5. Oh, I love the sound of that. Legendary Racetracks Parts 1 through 5. Anyway, it looks like they're planning some pretty deep development. You know, that's what I read and hear in this story. That is some depth that they're really planning, and a long rollout of DLC, increasing the depth of the game. Legendary, to me, implies they're looking to the past as much as the future. Could be pretty badass. Look at the lighting there, and this is VR view from what's in development for release December 2019. Automobilista 2. And probably our biggest news of the day, to be honest with you. All right. Time for me to congratulate some friends and show off some work. Number one, Shaun has been carrying the torch for us over on the Assetto Corsa side of things, on the sim racing systems, Simpit series. Once again, they're doing another Pick Your Poison series of GT3 cars. And we have 3 days until things kick off. I believe Thursday night is the race. Thursday night is race number 1, AIA, followed by Suzuka, Donington Park, Mosport, Watkins Glen, and Nordschleife is the season schedule for the 6-race season. If you want to race with a lot of the guys from the pit crew race over there, Shaun streams those races, so you could be a TV star running over there. You're going to want to get over there right away. That's Sim Racing Systems and the Simpit series. Thank you very much, Shaun Seabrand. In addition to that, Devin Booth, Mazda Mondays, always happens, late night Mazda. You can follow Devin Booth on YouTube. He did a video actually of last week's race. Again, this is streamed live by him on our channel, and a lot of the Simpit pit crew go out there and run with him as well. So last week they're at Lime Rock Park, and then he does these cool recap videos, 20 minutes long, showing off the race and how things played out. So if you want to watch last week's race, just head over there to the Simpit Crew channel, and you will see Running Rookies this week, LRP Mazda Monday, Season 3. In addition to that, hey, why did this switch to Asia? I don't want Asia. Congratulations to Asia. I want to congratulate my buddy Stan Donnet, who is leading in the points. He won the championship in the GT America Challenge on, this is one of the big ones that they run every day. Stan Donnet, our car painter extraordinaire. Look at his points here. 102, 102, 102, 102, 102. Basically, 8 wins in 6 weeks of racing with 1 third-place finish with a 20-point margin between him and second place. Fernando Silva, who I've raced against him, he is a hell of a driver right there as well. So, good job, Stan, and you made us all proud here at the Sim Pit. All right, let's check out some rigs. This rig, what do we got here? May not be fancy, but it's mine and I love it. We were talking acoustic panels. Looks like he's got acoustic panels all over the room. I probably need to do that. I like it. You know, that looks like the Ricmotech wood plans, an RS Wood Ricmotech wood plan rig, if I'm not mistaken. I built one of those. Put up on top of a box. I'm a big fan of elevating your rig, making it easy to get in and out of, and making it a little bit more of a spectacle in your room. I probably should get my Rseat up in the air at this point in time just to make it look that much more proud sitting there in the corner of my room. Anyway, good looking rig and a total DIY version. So when most of the rigs we look at nowadays are getting up in the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 marks, junkyard seat, handful of wood pieces, little bit of paint, and you got something that looks as pro as anything else out there. So well done by Dr. Danky. Not sure what that means. Another DIY, kind of a hodgepodge, a DIY wood monitor stand. Gotta love that. And it looks like he's got that looks like a next level racing, like two-piece. Like, put the seat. I'm not sure what he's got going on here in the rig department. Definitely looks like a next... Oh! I can't remember the name of that rig. But anyway, nice design, nice looking dedicated corner to racing. Gotta like that by Big Bulls. And then finally, look at this thing. Sharky 351. One more week for ignition. This reminds me of, like, we were talking pole position. This is like the old school gaming cabinet. He's got a GT Omega bolted down to this platform with this elaborate... I mean, did he buy that thing? I'm not even sure. Did he buy and repurpose this, or is that just built from scratch? Either way, I applaud you on what is a very dramatic looking sim rig. So I'm going to give that the rig of the week, I think. Here on a Monday, we can probably already declare that rig of the week. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you guys once again. 40,000 subs. Thank you. I can barely raise my arms. 40,000 subs. Thank you so much for helping us continue to grow. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up. Tell a friend so we can continue to grow. We're working on some reviews. We're working on some driving videos. We got a lot going on. It's going to be another big week here at the Simpit. I guarantee it. Lots of content coming. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.